Hey, my Hear and Play people, this is Jermaine Griggs. I am back. Listen, I just uploaded that new video to YouTube. It hasn't even been more than 12 hours or so, and close to 5,000 people have already downloaded it. Looks like 31 of you have rated it all 5 stars, and when I go to statistics, it looks like it's been favorited 110 times, and most importantly, 27 comments. So I'm stoked that you guys really appreciated that lesson on finding a key to any song. You know, like I said, I don't script these things out. I just want to help. That's my main thing. And it's nothing like, you know, going back to YouTube and being able to see people that are helped by something that you do. So I'm addicted to it. I'm like refreshing this page. Like, let me refresh it right now. Maybe a new comment has come in. No new comment. So I'm like refreshing this thing. Let me pause it. I'm refreshing this thing like every 10 minutes because I want to see what you guys are, you know, talking about and thinking about. So good thing that you guys watched that video. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com. I'll type it right here, youtube.com/hearandplay. If you go there, that'll take you to our channel. And, you know, there's tons of videos on our channel. We have over 226 videos, and then you go to, I think you click on the 226, and that'll take you to my last video right here, and then you'll be able to see it. Now in this video won't be as long, but you know, since I'm addicted to helping and I want to see what you guys think about this next concept, I'm just going to go ahead and share it anyway. Like I said, this is something else that I could charge for very well. So don't think that this is less value because I'm giving it away for free. A lot of people think, oh, he's giving it away for free, it must not be something. That's not the way I think. I will give you my best stuff for free oftentimes just because I want you to see, you know, value in it, you know, for yourself. So I don't think like that. I don't say, well, let me hold back here. That's not me. So get that out of your head. This is great stuff. This is stuff that would take you months, even years to grasp if you didn't have the right guidance. So in this lesson, I want you to first, I've created a 28-page report that I did overnight from yesterday to today. And it's in response to a lot of the comments that have come in. A lot of people have been enjoying themselves here. So what you need to do is go to hearandplay.com. See it in my box /numbers. Okay, I'll type it here too. Hearandplay.com/numbers. Just spell out the word numbers. Okay, and the reason you want to do that is because I have a lesson over there as well. It's a PDF. It's 28 pages. And what it's going to do is teach you the next skill I think you should have as a musician wanting to play by ear. You know, like finding the key. That was a very big one. And hopefully I, you know, pushed you in the right direction. The next important task, I believe, or skill rather, is to be able to look at music numerically, like to know your numbers. In other words, if you're in the key of C major, you need to know every tone of that scale as a number. Okay, if I say go from E to G, in your head, you should be thinking going from the 3rd tone of the scale to the 5th tone of the scale. Or if I say go from D to G, you should be thinking from the 2 to the 5. And you only get to that point in your playing by really thinking and working on it, you know, and it doesn't take a long time. It's very easy. And what I've done, I basically prepared an exercise for you, a do-it-yourself way for you to learn your numbers, because numbers are very important. Let me just break down a few reasons why they're important. If you ever heard somebody say, play a 2-5-1 progression and it went over your head and you didn't realize it, or even if you do know what a 2-5-1 progression is, which let me explain, is basically a chord on the 2nd tone of the scale progressing. That's why we call it chord progressions. So basically a chord on the 2nd tone of the scale going to another chord that's on the 5th tone of the scale and then returning home to the 1st tone of the scale. Because as you learn that other video, the 1st tone of the scale is the key you're in. It's the home base. It's the moment of rest or whatnot. So, you know, 2-5-1 progressions, 6-2-5-1 turnarounds, 1-4 turnarounds, all these numbers you've seen thrown around, and particularly on our site, you'll be, you know, bombarded with numbers. And if you don't understand it, I can feel your frustration, why that would be difficult. So this lesson breaks it down. I don't care if you've been playing for 25 years, you probably don't know your numbers as fast as you think you do. And when I say know your numbers, I mean 2-second reactions. This is called the Jermaine Griggs 2-second reaction test. Okay, what's the second tone of F? G. Bam. Did you beat me? Did you beat me? If you don't beat me with the answer, then you need to look at this exercise at hearandplay.com/numbers. Okay, what's the 7th tone of A? G sharp. Bam. You should have it. See? What's the 3rd tone of B flat? D. Got you again. Come on. What's the 7th tone of C? B. Okay, you need to be that fast, because the second benefit I think you get from it is it allows you to play in all 12 keys a lot easier, because if you know the 2 of any key, you know the 5 of any key, and you know the 1 of any key, you put the right chords, and I'll probably talk about that in another video. You put the right chords with those tones of the scale. You know, say the pattern is minor, major, major. Well, if you know the 2nd tone of the scale and you know it's minor chord, bam, 2-second rule. If you know the 5th tone of the scale and you know it's major chord, bam, 2-second rule. You get what I'm saying here? So really, by understanding the numbers, I think it's the foundation. Everything else is easy. You can learn 12 major chords. You learn your 12 major chords, you never need to learn them again. I don't even call it learning. It's just too easy. It's music. We love it. So you grasp it, you got it, right? You learn your 12. I ain't going to say learn. You discover your 12 minor chords, bam, you got them. You won't forget them. You discover your diminished chords, you got them. You discover your augmented chords, you got them. But what happens is you just got this big pool of chords. You don't know what to do with what. You don't know where to go with what. And the numbers make the world go round and round in music, because now we start grouping these chords together in patterns, and the patterns come from the numbers. So if I say, you know, the song My Girl, you know, or something, or any song, you know, most songs have common progressions in them. They just repeat. Songwriters are lazy. They don't reinvent the wheel. They just go take the same old patterns and everything else. But there's a common progression, 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's basically a chord on the 1st tone of the scale, going to a chord on the 6th tone of the scale, then going to a chord on the 2nd tone of the scale, then to a chord on the 5th tone of the scale, and then home to the 1 again. So 1, 6, 2, 5, and then 1 at the end. Okay, so usually that's a major chord on the 1, so maybe a minor chord on the 6, a minor chord on the 2, a major chord on the 5, a major chord on the 1. And I'm not trying to show you this. Don't be writing that down saying he's going too fast. It doesn't matter. That's not the overall concept that I want you to realize today. The concept is, if you know a pattern like that, it doesn't matter what key. If you're asking me for a key, you're missing the boat. If you're saying, well, is that C, A, D, G, C? Is that the pattern? No, the pattern is 1, 6, 2, 5, 1. Because you're going to take that to any key immediately. The minute you start trying to just think of one key, you're going down the road of handicapation, if you will. I made that up, but that's when you get handicapped in one key, because all you can think about is music in that key. You think about your favorite songs, but only in that key. You play, but only in that key. And the third benefit to knowing numbers is now you're learning a universal language. Imagine any place in the world you could go and speak one language. Okay, now cultural things aside and all that aside, just imagine if there was just one way, and everybody could have their individuality and their cultures and their customs, but there was just one universal language. It didn't matter where you're from, how old you are, your background. That's what numbers do to music. They give you this universal language, so it doesn't matter if you go to the planet of C or you go to G. You know, it's like they're like their own worlds, right? But they all connect to this solar system. You know, they all interconnect. And so I think numbers are very important. Even if I give you the formula to play all your chords, you know, I could say a major 6 chord. You know, most people haven't heard of a major 6 chord, just getting started. They're like, what? Major 6 chord? Yeah, there's a major 6 chord. It's basically a major chord, which is the 1st tone of the scale, plus the 3rd tone of the scale, plus the 5th tone of the scale, but with the addition of the 6th tone of the scale. So you're playing 4 notes at once. You're playing the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 6. You see how I'm talking to you now? Now you can take that to any key. In the key of C, bam, C, E, G, and A, right? In the key of D, F sharp, A, and B. You see, now that we know our numbers, now that we got that 2-second rule, do you guys see? I get excited about this because I like to see people progress, and I think this numbers system that I'm showing you here in this 28-page document. Now, don't be scared. The first page is a letter. It's basically talking about the same stuff I'm saying here. The second page is instructions. And then the third page is some reference. I basically give you all the scales with numbers under them. That's the third, the fourth, and the fifth page. So you can pretty much go to any thing here, and you can basically get the numbers. Like B flat is the 1. In the key of B flat is 1, C is 2, D is 3. See, I've basically done the work for you. I don't want you to have to do any work. I just want you to get it, right? Okay, but here's the key. I went back in life. I know that sounds weird. I went back in life, and I asked myself, when did I really grasp something new, and what was the best, most effective way that I usually picked up great information? Because I could read my textbooks back in college and stuff, and it'll go through one ear and out the other. But I noticed when I made flashcards for stuff, whether it was a science test, a statistics test, an environmental analysis, or even a criminology test, because I major in criminology and law, it was when I got some flashcards and I put questions on one side and answers on the other, or facts on one side and the answers or details of the facts on the other. For some reason, the brain really connected to that. And I think that's the case for most people, because my wife was similar. I don't think there's a person that doesn't respond to flashcards, who do them religiously, take a few cycles through. I mean, soon your brain starts getting it. Make sure you shuffle them. Don't be trying to cheat doing the same order over and over. But that's what I've done for you. I took the time. I didn't have an assistant do this. I didn't have a team member do this. I did this. And on the odd number pages, starting at page 7, the odd numbers are the questions. So it'll be like first tone of C, first tone of F, first tone of B flat, first tone of E flat. And I'm going in the circle of fifths. I'm going in the circle. I'm not going C, C sharp, D. I'm not doing that, because I think there's more value in you also just being exposed to the circle of fifths. That's a whole nother video in and of itself. But this is how music flows. Even if you know what a 2-5-1 is in the key of B flat, you'll notice the second tone of B flat is C. The fifth tone of B flat is F, and the first tone is B flat. So all these patterns, you'll see even the way I've designed the cards. They're designed in a way to really, get you to understand the patterns. But who cares? You'll shuffle them up anyway. I just thought to give you an extra exposure to something that would benefit you. Okay, so page 7 is the question, but notice the answer is on page 8. Okay, so you'll print this out. You need a printer, and you need 28 sheets of paper if you're going to do it separate pages. If you're pretty savvy and you can do double-sided pages, meaning you'll print your odd ones in your printer first, right? And then you'll do the even ones. Then it will only take 14 pieces of paper. But if you have that light, cheap copy paper, I didn't try this because I got the light, cheap copy paper too. And you will see it through there. So you either need thicker paper or just print every page on its own paper and then glue them or staple them together. Okay, because in other words, page 7 goes on the back of page 8, or page 8 goes on the back of page 7. Page 9 and 10 go together. Okay, you staple them or you glue them to the back, or if you have good paper, you got that premium paper, then print them. Using you can print on each side. Now, for my savvy folks, here's how to do it. You go up to print, and let me see if it works this way. Okay, you go to print, and then for my printer, usually there'll be something around here that says odd pages only or even pages only. If you can do that, usually it's in here. Every printer is set up a little different, but it's either here. If it's not, I usually see it somewhere over here, but it's usually something that's hinting to odd and even. If you can find that, print the odd pages first and then put them back in your printer. Okay, and you need to do it right. Usually you put the ink where the ink is, you put that on top because the printer prints on the bottom of the page. You have to figure that out. It might take a couple tries, but don't worry. This is for your music. And then print the even. You go back to print and then you do the even pages. Now, if you're not savvy and you're like, Jermaine, I don't know what the heck you talking about, man, then what you should do is just print it all out. Print all 28 pages, and then you'll, glue and staple the appropriate pages together. Now, to make it even easier, and this took me like an hour, I put numbers. See these little unique numbers? They match the questions with the answers. Okay, so these numbers go all the way up to 87. So there's 87 flashcards you're going to have total. Notice the answer has that same number. So it's impossible to mix it up. Let me tell you guys a quick little story. At first I was thinking when I designed this that I would put the question here. And then I thought when I designed it, I could put the answer here. And your boy printed it out. And I noticed that for the first tone of C, the answer was F. And I was like, huh? And I figured that when you flip the page, it's reversed. So I had to go all the way back and I had to flip this. So I had to put my answers over here in this column. And then I had to put my questions in this column. But when you put it on paper, you'll see that when you flip it, it works. So don't worry about it. As long as this number right here matches the number of the question, you did it right. And it's no big deal. I don't want people to get, oh no, I need to be a rocket science to figure out Jermaine. It's not that at all. You're going to print it out. You'll be good to go. But the idea is now you'll be able to shuffle these cards, cut them out, cut in where the lines say cut. And then bam, now you have these cards to go through. I bet you. And I don't bet, because back in the day, my grandpa was my pastor. He said not to gamble, but sometimes I gamble when it's something for the other person's own good. I'm not asking you, like that kind of gambling, but I bet you anything that if you print out these cards and you make them and you take the 5-10 minutes it takes to do this. It didn't take me long to cut them out. I have my cards right here. Even had my wife calling some of them out to me. It was very fun, actually. You can have a spouse call them out and give you the answers and whatnot. But I bet you after 2 nights of doing this, 2 nights of going through every card maybe 3 times, and they're going to go fast. It doesn't take rocket science. 2 nights. You give me 2 nights and you will have these down. Now, I don't know how long it'll take to get the 2-second rule where you're doing it like bam, bam, bam. But 2 nights of this and you will have it down. And then when I say play a 2-5-1 in the key of F, you'll think 2 of F right away. You'll think 5 of F right away. And you'll think 1 of F right away. That's the goal of this. Okay. So if you're down with the get down, go to hearandplay.com/numbers, and then it'll transfer you to this PDF. And then you'll be good to go. Print this out, my gift to you. And you're probably saying, why am I doing this? Because I know how it feels to be a struggling musician. I know how it feels to be a new musician and trying to understand stuff. But despite all the information that's available, it's just still not making sense. I know that. I read the surveys. I read comments and stuff. And I think I'm very connected to my audience to know what they really want. And not to say anything bad about other musicians, but sometimes people get so far away. They're so good and so advanced that they forgot what it feels like to be in the beginning. And I told myself I will never forget that. And how I continue to remember is by constantly reading emails, constantly reading survey results when I send out surveys, constantly talking to people every once in a while on the phones when I can, and just kind of being in the trenches. So these numbers, I even know people that have been playing for 10 years still struggling because they can't give me a 2-5-1 in the key of A right away. And I need them to say BEA right away. So this answer, these exercises will definitely help you out. Okay, so if you have any questions, post your comments. If you like what we're doing here, post your comments here on this page. And remember, this is Jermaine Griggs. Remember, if you can hear it, you can play it. I'm here to tell you, you can play it. You take care.